Listening to a Weeby Geeks Network podcast.
It's Pro Wrestling Cast.
Shut up! My time has come, and that's the bottom line.
With your hosts, Aljon and Stephen.
I've been the best ever since day one when I walked into this company.
It's Pro Wrestling Cast, a weekly look into the world of professional wrestling.
I'm gonna reach out right now. I want you at home to know my hand is touching your hand.
Follow us on Facebook at Pro Wrestling Cast and on Twitter at PWrestlingCast. I always try to do what's best for business. Have a question or just want to comment? Leave us a voicemail at 615-9339-PWC. That's 615-9339-792.
Or how about a Y2J telling you to shut the hell up?
And now, Pro Wrestling Cast.
We got it for you.
One and all, we're back for yet another week of wrestling news and commentary on Pro Wrestling Cast, the weekly webcast with your host. My name is Aljon Go, lifelong wrestling fan, and here to talk the stuff. We're here with wrestling historian, also known as a tweener, every single week, Stephen Anthony, joining us from Music City. How are you doing, Stephen?
I was thinking about having a heel persona for the show, and the heel persona would be actually me and my real name in real life.
Okay. So Stephen
Anthony would be me, the real person.
So Stephen Anthony is the tweener. He's the in-betweener. He's the in-betweener on the show. We've got a lot of wrestling news to cover this week. Last week we had a lot of fun with our promo of the week. Ric Flair and his "Fire me, I'm already fired" twice.
Love that.
Such a good promo. This week we have something interesting. Now there was a bunch of different promos we've batted about. Yeah. We love promos. I think it's one of the most engaging parts of building wrestling character, storyline, building feuds, and the ones that last the test of time are something to behold. I mean, obviously, Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, and Hard Times was great. You got Ric Flair versus Bischoff, which was excellent, even though there was a lack of follow-up on their part. Yeah. And now this week, we talked about this gentleman's promos in the past few shows. One of my favorite performers, simply because he's a badass, he can go, and his work on the mic is unlike any other. Stephen, who are we talking about today?
We're talking about Scott Steiner. They're probably one of the most interesting internet YouTube guys, a real YouTube sensation. His promos throughout the years have been amazing, and it took a while to figure out which Scott Steiner promo to put, because there are so many that are wonderfully bizarre. He's a very, very odd man. But,
Scott, really, if you want to be on the show, we love to have you on the show, seriously.
But I'm doing it from here. I'm not we all remember his infamous backstage DDP fight that he won. And
actually, I was gonna bring that promo up too.
That's a good promo too. Actually, what's terrible is all of the promos he did that got him in trouble, or not get him in trouble, I should say, at WCW were fantastic. The Ric Flair little shoot he did that was unwarranted, that he didn't have an angle with Ric Flair, was great.
Mm-hmm. just let's fill some time, Scott. Go ahead.
I remember he put some fake teeth in, and he said, "Look at me, I'm a buck-toothed old bastard in the back." It's like, this doesn't have anything to do with the storyline at all. He doesn't like that man. Yeah, and he's talking about Arn Anderson. It's like, he's not on the show. Wonderful. But this particular promo, he's with his pal, Petey Williams, who, what a fantastic Cruiserweight X Division wrestler.
Love Petey Williams. And, great in Team Canada.
Team Canada was great. Now, that's when I watched a whole lot of TNA. Was around 2004, 5, 6. I would watch it more than the other product, but anyway, that pile driver was fantastic. You know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Super dangerous looking, but anyway, Petey, if you ever listen to Colt Cabana, well, I don't know how many more podcasts I'll be doing at this point, but he did one with Petey Williams and told a really hilarious story about going to Cracker Barrel with Scott Steiner and what that entails. These wrestlers really like Cracker Barrel. I've noticed that.
I love Cracker Barrel.
Well, I do too, and I think we like the same Cracker Barrel because I used to live close to the same one that you live close to.
There you go.
So, and I'm sure those Hardy Boys have been at that Cracker Barrel. I just know it. It's like they do their business there.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. That's a good sober point to get sober at the end of the night. That's a good Cracker Barrel for that.
Yeah, I agree. It's good stuff.
This week in wrestling news.
You know, before we get into that promo of the week, we do have a bunch of wrestling news and commentary for you. Let's go ahead and get things started with the big dog in the hunt, the WWE. Things are shaping up for WrestleMania, and this week's Raw is all right. Not too shabby. It established a few things. Stephen, what do you think about this Monday night's Raw going into this Monday?
I think it was written well, but I think it came across poorly.
Mm-hmm.
Orton finally did his turn. I guess that's what the show was built around. This should have been, if they would have done this 2 weeks ago when he first came out, it would have worked. Because that crowd 2 weeks ago, it was in Nashville, had hype. He'd come out, boom, big time heat. He's back. Yay. Somebody knew. Babyface reaction. And if they would have done that exact same storyline on that show, he would have left with monumental heat. As it is, the segment, by the way, the segments were really funny. You know, he's a very evil person, I think, in his personal life to some degree.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Can I get sued for calling someone evil? I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I could sue a lot of people then, but no, I mean, he has that, as I said it before, he has that Jake the Snake quality that there's something about this guy. You know, wrestling is really about creating a shadow of doubt. It's not about believing it 100%. That's why Andy Kaufman and Lawler work so well in the media. Yeah. There was a shadow of doubt, and Orton creates that shadow of doubt with those backstage stories about him and things of that, but it's really just the way he moves around. Anyway, he was perfect for this role. I just think the timeline was a little out of whack. They needed to do that 2 weeks ago, so now we'll see what is. I always listen to the crowd. The first thing I do is when they start someone's entrance music, it's the thing I listen to closest, honestly, is what kind of crowd reaction did they get. And his pop was huge, little less, and then a little less this week. And then at the very end, when he beat up Rollins was hilarious too, by the way. I'm not giving him enough credit.
Right.
His heat was kind of a dead heat, and I know it was a nice long beat down, but honestly, they don't do very many violent segments anymore, as odd as that sounds. But if you think about it, there hasn't been blading in years, and there hasn't been a long beat down in quite a while like that. You know, it's more PG than ever, which is fine. I don't care. I don't need to see all that Russifixions and all that, or ECW crucifixions either.
Yeah, right. And,
no crucifixions are needed.
No hot lesbian action or anything like that.
Right. I mean,
although we did have a female-to-female kiss a few months ago on Raw.
And that's fine, you know. But again, I think with women in wrestling, you know, they can leave the. I don't know if I really watch it to see like hot stuff happening so much. I mean, but I think some people like that, but I'm not into it. But I'm a purist because it's still real to me. Damn it! I mean, it really is.
Yeah. Well, I agree. The Orton beatdown at the end with Rollins was. Dare I say, epic. It was really, really good. The promo at the top of the show started really, really good. The fact that Jamie Noble and and Joey Mercury at J&J Security is on TV getting a push. Those two characters are great, and the fact that they mirror the Stooges is just gold.
The worst thing about Jamie Noble and Joey Matthews or Joey Mercury to me is that from what I understood, they put together that Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
They were the road agents, and I don't know what they were thinking. That didn't work. But anyway.
You know what? From everything else that I know about them and their career putting together matches and how they've taken talent under their wing has been really good. They have a great mind for the business, and not everything clicks. I mean, Dusty Rhodes, we both agree, has a great wrestling mind. But let me think really quick. How many stupid, funny gimmicks has he put out over the course of a lifetime?
Johnny B. Bad was interesting.
Johnny B. Bad, yeah, that's right. Well, couldn't get that over. How about the Shockmaster?
That was him trying to work in his brother-in-law.
Yeah.
Typical.
Yeah, but, a glitter Stormtrooper helmet, Dusty? Really?
No, the Shockmaster's over. Trust me, he's over.
I guess he is over. You're right.
He's quite over. Who put together that Stormtrooper helmet? Who did that?
I don't know.
Ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Come on. That's 93. You don't have some money for that? Jesus Christ.
Well, I thought that was really good. For me, and let me know if I'm jumping out of turn here.
Please.
One of the highlights of that night happened to be Heyman's promo.
Yes.
And you were talking about the crowd in Nashville. Now, let's go back to that crowd in Nashville 2 Mondays ago?
Yes.
When they were in Nashville, apparently, and we covered this, you mentioned the fact that Brock Lesnar had flew in this private jet as per his contract and had some type of backstage negotiation issue with Vince McMahon or something like that, to the point where he didn't agree with creative or whatever the case may be. It's all speculation. No one knows the truth. And he hops in his plane and goes home. And at the bottom of the ninth, before airtime, they had to rewrite the program to accommodate this. Now they're revisiting it in this past Monday's Raw, trying to get him, Randy Orton, into full, face mode. You know, so shoot or work.
I was marking out on this segment. I thought it was great. It's a bit internet driven in a sense. The cutting the mic thing is obviously a work. They did this with the CM Punk pipe bomb angle. Mm-hmm. Heyman is incredible. Heyman and Stephanie, I can't say enough about these two on the mic. They're so good. And Heyman, Lesnar sits there and makes $250,000 just standing there. That must be nice. But I know they're real life friends, and he does give him actual. He's not his manager, but he gives him advice. I can't figure out if it's a work or a shoot. I'm leaning towards work, because what better way to keep this moving? You got a boring angle. You don't have a boring angle. I mean, what is the angle between Lesnar and Reigns? What is the angle?
There is none.
You can't beat me. Well, my family's Samoan, so I think I can. Like, what's the angle? There's nothing.
There is none.
When Harley Race fought Ric Flair, it's like, I'm going to give $20,000 if he can beat this dude up. He gets jumped. Dick Slater, Orton turns heel on him. He comes back with a neck brace. He attacks the dude with a baseball bat. All this stuff. What do we have for this? Nothing. And,
they really haven't made it. They really haven't made it personal yet.
It's not personal at all. It's about Lesnar's backstage contract negotiations, which if it's a work, they're leaking it on the internet on purpose. They're trying to work the boys to some degree, because they know they talk to Meltzer and Keller, and then and Jason Powell, and then they work it on TV with Heyman having his mic cut by McMahon. And then Reigns doesn't have heat, and that's the angle. It's really weird. So that makes me think it's a work. If it's a shoot, I can tell you that if it's a shoot, he's probably too old to do a lot of really hardcore UFC MMA shoot fight style matches. Mm-hmm. But he might end up. I just don't see how someone in their 40s. I'm 37 when I get up. It's kind of different. Or when I've been down to get something. So I don't see somebody 5 years older than me, whatever he is. He is a monster, but he's not going to be as quick as he used to be. And it makes no sense not to make $250,000 per episode, getting flown in on someone else's private jet when you already have your own too. Why wouldn't he just stay? So they're at a stalemate. Well, why don't we know what that stalemate is? What is the bullet point that's missing in this contract? So I think I'm leaning towards work. I hope it's a work, because if it's a shoot and they lose him, what you're going to have is Reigns go over. Rollins, they pretty much should have Reigns go over in that case, and Rollins win the belt a week later. I mean, because he has absolutely no heat. I mean, his heat was so dead for the main event. He got his pin back. I mean, who cares?
Right.
And then you pin the guy a week before. I mean, I guess to me, booking mind-wise, that sets up Rollins Reigns for right after this, and that's why you pin him. But getting pinned by the Giant and then a few weeks later pinned by Rollins, that's 2 losses in a month or a month and a half. I don't see that as good booking. Therefore, it makes me think it might be a work. Lesnar signs a contract secretly, and he pins him with an F5 to an enormous pop and stays, and Reigns shoots to the mid-card. That would be a good work. And Heyman comes out and says, now we're going to UFC, and I'll see you later. The best part of the promo is he said he's going to unify. He might go to UFC and win their belt and be like WWE and UFC champion, first person to do that. You know, and when I heard that, I thought, man, they're really taking this seriously. Yeah. But I don't know what kind of role Dana White has in this, or what he knows, you know. It's very interesting. The only interesting thing about the angle.
And then going back to CM Punk going to possibly UFC makes for a very interesting situation. I don't think, I don't know. Do I think that Brock getting on his plane, taking his ball and going home, was that a shoot or a work?
If it's a work, that was where the work started.
And that's what I'm saying. I honestly think it's all a work. I keep on saying this time and time again on this show that there's nothing left kayfabe-wise in this business. There's really nothing left. So what else is there to do but do real stuff to throw a wrench in everybody's thought process? Because so much of the curtain has been pulled at this point. You just want to still believe. You want to still get sucked in. So they're using every tool at their discretion to work everyone over.
Well, including the smart marks. Talking about it, it must.
And that's a point.
Work.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Because
so brilliant.
Yeah.
What I think this promo with the unification of the UFC and WWE titles will go down as one of his best promos ever. So
it was killer.
I the whole time I'm sitting there with my mouth open, going, "He just went there."
I tell you what, Deadspin. I got home at around 10, so I had a DVR, and I'm like, okay, I want to watch it straight through to get an ambiance, a feel of it. Being we're doing the podcast and being it's WrestleMania season, I don't really skip through very much at all, which I normally would do. Like in October, I'm skipping. I'm watching the Cowboys or the Seahawks. I'm skipping through Natalia, just to be, or the Usos, just to be honest. And I happened to get on my laptop, and I went to Deadspin, which I really like their site, and it said Paul Heyman cuts promo saying Lesnar's going to go to unify with UFC belt. I saw the spoiler on Deadspin. My point being, they usually don't report on anything, so it must have been a pretty good shoot if they picked up on it pretty quickly. It was probably the best thing on the show. Rusev. What did you think of the Rusev angle?
It's fine. I mean,
I thought it was good. I like how he resuscitated him and put the hold back on. And Cena's got more of an edge now to him that I like.
No one's booing him, so you got to be pro USA. If you're not pro John Cena beating Rusev's ass at WrestleMania, you're not American. So therefore, everyone's cheering for him.
Rusev's awesome. They need to put the belt on him. If I were the booker, I would put the belt on Rusev immediately and have him feud with Cena.
Yeah.
The real belt. Have him unify. Now I'm the world champion and the United States champion. I rule the United States and I rule the WWE, and Cena can't beat me because I pinned him again at WrestleMania. Something like that. That would be phenomenal business.
That would be good business. I would be okay with that. They're building him up, and you're making Cena just a super baby. You know, I mean, Hulk Hogan style baby. Not that he wasn't before, but
right.
It was really good stuff.
And
So
let me say this: there is a casting call in L.A. for Russian soldiers for the part of 25 to 34-year-olds to play Russian soldiers for WrestleMania. So they have some sort of elaborate, politically charged, militaristic entrance planned.
Of course.
They always have one of those at WrestleMania. They had it one year with what's the dinosaur guys? The Funkasaurus had one year. Or one year they had a bunch of John Cena in the car, which is really a bad one. But this year, it'll be the Russian thing, and it'll be really good.
Yeah, it will be good for sure. Triple H didn't appear on this Raw, but there was a little bit of business in between Triple H and Sting. I
have something to say about that.
Okay, go for it. Go ahead.
Okay, look. You've met Sting, right? And
I actually have not met Sting.
Okay. Well, okay. All right. That's not how Sting talks. That's not his voice.
No.
And I think we would know that if we watched WCW. But I'm watching and I'm like, well, this is strange, and this isn't the audio was pretty good except for the audio. So I thought, well, this is odd, and then I'm like, well, it sounds like they
down his voice to talk like this.
Right, and then I realized they slowed down the register, and I'm like, well, that's cool. That's what they did, and then I hear from Dave Meltzer, who's the one guy that would know this, that they were trying to be like the Black Scorpion. Like, why that? Why the Black Scorpion? Is that a rib? Is that a joke? The Black Scorpion angle was actually the first time that WCW or the NWA going into WCW, that was the first time that they started to lose it. Sting had just become champion. He had a pretty badish but good feud, badish match but good feud with Sid Vicious at Halloween Havoc. This is 1990. He had won the belt of Great American Bash, and then they had nothing. The booking committee went to Ole Anderson. Ole Anderson in a shoot interview, and by the way, if you haven't seen an Ole Anderson shoot interview, you're missing out. He's completely crazy. Basically, they say to him, well, what do you got for us? He's like, I don't know. He's like, well, figure it out. So he said, I went into the other room and I wrote down Sting versus the Black Scorpion. So he goes to this new corporate infrastructure, WCW, and he says, yeah, Sting versus the Black Scorpion. They're like, we love it. And he's like, yeah, great. Like, he didn't even have an idea what it meant. He's like, Sting does Scorpion, Death Drops is the Black Scorpion. Like the Dark Patriot on the indie scene instead of the Patriot. Right. So the black, and then the angle, the guy they had playing it, Al Perez, I don't know if you remember him, he backed out, he quit because he had the job. And Ric Flair did it just to help him out. They were going to have Barry Windham, and he's like, look, let me just do this because we always have match. Anyway, it was a complete and utter disaster and led to their slow decline. That was the first time. And after that, Sting had to drop the title. Long story short, the Black Scorpion was a complete disaster. Why bring it back for this promo? That is strange.
It's true, but I didn't really equate it to Black Scorpion. I simply was like, okay, they wanted to give him that menacing voice kind of thing. Right. I whatever. I could take it or leave it. I'm just really over this build. I think it's lazy. I don't buy it at all. There's nothing happening to me here. Nope. The same thing goes for that. Look. Let's look at how these storylines are happening. Okay. Right? When the best part of the WrestleMania card is a 6-man ladder match. Yeah. Because of the performance aspect and the fact that someone's going to be battling for a title. Now they're bringing that title and it means something. The Cody versus Goldust, that works for me, right?
They've given up on that, by the way.
Did they give up on it?
They've given up on it.
Oh,
so Cody is your 7th man in your ladder match.
There you go. I see.
Goldust is in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal of Doom.
No. Anyway,
they gave up on it. They're like, oh, it ain't working. So they gave up on it, and that's why he came and jumped Bryan. So they threw him in that. He's not needed in that. They're fine with Bryan, Ambrose, Ziggler, my mom.
You know what? They might. Let's just hope they just put a pause button on that feud, because maybe they'll have a resolve over it during SummerSlam. I don't know.
I don't think so. I think they're done with it. No, blame Dusty a little bit, but I don't know. It just didn't work. Brother versus brother never works. Remember when the Hardys feuded? It's like these guys don't hate each other.
Yeah.
It's stupid. The only one that kind of half worked was Owen versus Brett, because Owen was a great heel and Brett's a great baby face, and they tried really hard, and they're knowledgeable and psychological, and they had great matches. That's the only one I've seen really kind of work.
It just seems to me like brother versus brother is just the ultimate. It's just an ultimate story that people can get behind to some degree, because we've all had father versus brother, brother versus brother. Those things always work out great. In terms of wrestling, it's really difficult for father versus son to kind of ever come about,
Right.
But it has happened, to some degree.
Yeah. Well, Ric Flair versus David Flair would be the worst and best example.
Yeah.
A miserable feud.
Yeah. Well, at any rate, I think Raw did have some high points. Like I said, I think the high points were bookends Randy Orton and Heyman's promo. Those are probably my favorite things.
They've expanded the tag team. You've got your tornado match you wanted so bad, and now you got Lost Matadors in it, so congratulations.
You're welcome.
You know what? Everything you said, look, I got to give you some credit. Everything you said happened. You said that the women's match would be on the Mania card. I said no, to be pre-match. I was wrong. You said there'd be a tornado match with more teams. I said you don't have any more to be. And you're right. It's a tornado. It's Matador, Tyson Kidd and his buddy and whatever. You said that Undertaker, they would save him for a network build. You are completely accurate about that as well.
Yep.
It looks like if he would have been in a show, let's talk about that one. If he would have been in a show, it would have been this one. But instead, I guess we got a rocking chair spot, which is fine.
Yes, that was interesting. I didn't see the mat burning at all. The rocking chair had that nice flaming pan of grease underneath it, and
they did a good job with it. Yeah, sure.
I liked it. I knew what was underneath the damn urn. I mean, when Bray Wyatt came out, and that was a pretty good promo. But I knew that as soon as the bong hit, that would reveal the Sister Abigail rocking chair.
Yeah. I think. Do you think he got Sister Abigail from the King Diamond album Abigail? Because he looks like a metal listener. I think he got that.
I think he did. Yeah.
I'm a closet King Diamond freak.
You are not a closet King Diamond freak. Everybody knows you love metal.
Nobody knows that about me.
I know that about you. No, he's like getting off camera. It's like
I know a lot about the band Manowar. I know that.
Yeah, but hey, you know what? That's all right. We are musicians after all. Look at my office. I've got guitars all over the damn place.
Oh, do you like rock music? I remember the first time I talked to you. I hope you don't mind me revealing this.
Go ahead.
I said, I'm like, this guy's pretty cool. He knows a lot about wrestling. And I knew you were a big-time local DJ. And, and I knew all the people that you played already anyway, or the singers and guitar players. I said, well, I wonder what this guy's into, because I'm, kind of like more folky than those guys are. And I said, what's your favorite thing? Do you remember this?
Yeah, I don't remember this. Go ahead.
I said, what do you mark out for? And he said, Van Halen. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I said, which one? I said, Roth or Hagar? And you're like, both. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this guy's into some rock music. So that was very telling. But we'll all agree 5150 is a 5-star album. It definitely is.
5150 is a 5-star album, and it just kind of, it kind of coasted from there. But, it is what it is. I that's the kind of era I grew up digging, post 1984. Now I went back, of course, but I still love Van Halen. But
right,
it's a different band,
well, yeah.
But it's okay.
I still.
And then you,
uh-huh.
I mean, you love Manowar, you love King Diamond, you love, but you love folky stuff. You know,
Well,
and we all listen to the same type of stuff.
Well, that does confuse people because people are like, "Hey, some kind of metal guy," and they go to my music pages and they listen to it and they're like, "Oh, well, this sounds like country." You know, it's like, yeah, I don't. I'm just old school with metal. I listened to it in the '80s and '90s like you, but
yeah,
that was quite a tangent.
Yeah, that was interesting.
We're off the cuff here.
It's the Rock and Wrestling Connection, guys and gals.
Yeah, right.
The Rock and Wrestling Connection, for sure.
Speaking of rock and wrestling, how about Wiz on the show?
How about Wiz Khalifa?
Yeah,
the Mizdow.
Big pop. You just die if you try to play on that show, and you're an artist. On any show. Megadeth, Kiss died on WCW.
Mm-hmm.
Motley Crue died playing in 98 or 90. Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't work. The crowd's not there to see a music act.
Nope.
You know?
I hate it for him.
You give them Wiz, you don't give them Undertaker, you're going to have
Well, here's the thing about that whole situation is that the best part of the night is Mizdow coming out at the end.
That was good.
Yeah, Mizdow is
really
gold. Oh, totally.
What does he do next? That's the question. But they want to keep this rolling forever because they don't know what to do,
Yeah.
But they're going to have – he's going to be in the Battle Royal, and I guarantee – that Sheamus comes out for that Battle Royal and kicks Mizdow in the face and he goes over the top rope. I guarantee that's the finish. 100% guarantee it. Sheamus, big boot, or whatever the hell he does.
Bro kick.
Yeah, okay. Big boot. It's a big boot.
It's a big boot.
It's much better, but...
The big boot works. The Hogan big boot. Okay.
Goes over the top. That's finish.
Really quick, I think we've pretty much summed up Raw.
It was okay. It wasn't bad. It was well written. You see what I mean? It was well written, but things were kind of. But they're building the card. But they've built it. They could basically have the show tomorrow and be done. So they have to fill another 2 weeks. They have to fill up Monday the 16th and then Monday the 23rd, and then that'll be it.
Well, we know where this is going. They're going to continue to build the ladder match. For the title, they're going to continue to build the tag team division as well as the Sting and Triple H feud, which will probably gain some steam next week. So
right,
we'll have to. Oh, and maybe Undertaker. I think it'll. I guarantee it. I don't think we're gonna. I think we're gonna see that on a network for sure.
You got to pay $9.99 to see the Undertaker these days. That's $9.99.
Damn it!
Pay me $10 and you can see him. Then we'll talk.
There you go. So. Just to kind of tag this on at the end, by the way, your favorite show that you haven't seen yet, Stephen, WWE Total Divas,
right,
had probably some of the best numbers they've ever had. They drew 1.14 million viewers.
I read that.
And they've dropped a little bit in their ratings. It's not, but I mean, look, it's still, pretty damn good. They started post the Kardashians in week 1 at 1.4 million, and they've brought it back all the way up to 1.2.
Well, that's good because Raw is down 11% from last year. Mm-hmm. It did about 3.8 million. And then SmackDown is down 14%, which is a tremendous surprise because they moved to Thursday. So they're getting like a 1.9, and Raw's getting like a 2.8. So their ratings are low. Their house show's cool. The network's doing good, and they're selling a lot of merch. So every business parameter is good except for the ratings. But when you go to 3 hours, when you move your show from Thursday to Friday to Thursday, I guess, or Wednesday, whatever they've been doing, you got to expect these things to happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, go ahead.
I don't think people are quite as interested in Raw as before. You could owe some of it to the time change. I've heard that, but I don't understand how that works. It's like, I didn't remember to go to work.
Yeah, I don't.
Nobody really does that.
Yeah, I don't understand that, but whatever. This is the time where things get quite interesting on the road to WrestleMania, and after that it kind of gets soft for the summer, so we'll have to see what happens.
They have a good build this year. I'm going to give them that. They have built several matches. They haven't built 3 or 4. They've built 8 or 9 really well. So kudos for that. Not every show's a hit. You write it. You hope it works out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll agree. I mean, I do like this build. I don't necessarily think that it's it's all original. I mean, there's a lot of things in this life that are not all that much original, but
Right.
it works. I mean, it works for me. Now we talked about Cody Rhodes. Yes, yes, Cody Rhodes officially added to the IC title ladder match.
Yeah.
And that should be very interesting. So let's look at the IC ladder match, how it's building up. You got Barrett, Truth, Ambrose, Harper, Ziggler, Stardust, Daniel Bryan, and the mystery person, which you said Sheamus, which makes sense.
No, I don't think Sheamus will be in that. I think he'll be in the Battle Royal.
Oh, but he's in Battle Royal? Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I think
who do you think that other man? Well, who do you think that other man's going to be? Is there anybody else in that? I think it's Daniel Bryan.
Why didn't they go with 4 or 6? Why are they going on there's too many people there. It's a waste of talent. You could have, if you had Ambrose, Ziggler, Bryan, and Truth or Barrett. I mean, that would have been phenomenal. You got so many people.
Yeah.
How long is this match going to be? An hour long?
I don't know. You've got the Divas. You got Nikki and Brie versus Paige and AJ. That'll be a barn burner. Then you've got.
It'll be fine. They're not going to give them any time, I don't think. I
don't think so either.
That's how they act.
And Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal: Miz, Axel, Ryback, Fandango, Adam Rose, Zack Ryder, Swagger, Titus, Darren Young, Kane, Big Show, Rowan, Mizdow, and Sin Cara.
Sheamus all the way.
Sheamus, yeah.
If Sheamus is the mystery person in the Intercontinental match, or whatever you call that belt now, he wins it. But I think they're going to save him for the Battle Royal. It's easy to have him come out Big Daddy Cool Diesel or Yokozuna style and throw everybody out of a Battle Royal. You have your top face, which is Mizdow, out of the blue. He does great. He throws out Miz. Yeah, he's going to win. Sheamus comes out, big kick. He's over the top. That's what I think happens. And then I think Daniel Bryan or Ambrose gets the big babyface win over Barrett, or because Barrett gets pinned every week in that match. I think that's where they're going with that. I don't, they like to throw. They could not have a babyface winning that, because I see Sting winning Triple H to set up Sting versus Undertaker for 2016, because they're going to try to fill up a 100,000 seater. We'll see about that, but
I mean, it's good. It'll be interesting to see what happens for sure. Let's see. In terms of other stuff going down on WWE, I know that they've got a shareholders meeting coming up in April. We'll kind of figure out what's going on there. Other news, Stephen. I know you have a few other headlines to chat about. So.
Well, did you happen to hear that? Well, let's talk about TNA a little bit.
Let's talk about TNA.
We don't give them a lot of love here. First of all, they have 2 sets of tapings they're doing. They tape a lot on one show, and they've already got 4 shows taped. And they'll probably have another 4 taped by the time this goes to air. But they're doing a lot of stuff. They're going with Kurt Angle versus Bobby Lashley over the belt, which is tremendous idea. Lashley's has never truly been used correctly. He had this enormous push with the Donald Trump angle, which I thought was really well done, and drew actually the most money of any pay-per-view in history. And he never went anywhere with that. So he's been the champion. He's feuding with Angle over the title. I won't try to give it away, but they continue their feud. Samoa Joe turned heel on Drew on the show, and apparently he's going to be replaced with Homicide in the group. So Samoa Joe, you were asking how they're going to write him off the show. They just replaced him with another guy. Homicide was actually the Ring of Honor champion after Joe, so it's kind of funny. I don't know if that's a little whatever inside ring.
Right.
It's stupid if it is. But Homicide's actually really good. I like him a lot.
So do I.
The Wolves have to vacate their titles now because Eddie Edwards has a legit injury. But they tape so far in advance. They tape 2 months worth of stuff. I don't see why they have to vacate it. It's not like they have a tremendous house show business. They've been blading a lot on the show. We had a tremendous hair match, which was actually really good.
Yeah. You want to run down some of... I don't know if
I
you
don't
want to
like
run down
Rockstar
some of that.
Spud, but he's starting to get somewhere with me. I'm old school, so it's hard for me to like a guy like that a little bit. I'm a little too old to like that type of wrestler. But
The pint-sized Brutus Beefcake is not working for you?
No, I don't. I mean, it comes across very. I don't even know how to phrase what I'm thinking. How about that, without sounding bad? But that's not the type of guy I like to watch wrestle. How about that? I like Wahoo McDaniel more than that, maybe. Okay.
You're a real man's man. You want a real man's wrestler.
Kind of, yeah. I'd rather not watch that
That's
guy.
basically what you're saying.
I'm trying to say that. I'm skirting around it.
That's all right.
But he showed a lot of heart in this, and the boys made a couple of swords, as Ric Flair said. I was watching the High Spots Ric Flair shoot the other day that he did from 2008, and he said, "I made a sword," referring to a blade, and I just thought that was really funny. He's obviously very good at blading, so it kind of that's the first blading I've seen on TV in a long time.
Yeah.
I can't really remember the last time. I don't know. That's just something they're doing less and less, which, honestly, I like blading. I think they should do it, but they're not going to do it in WWE anymore.
No. Well, speaking of blood, Drew McIntyre / Galloway got beat down and also pulled the blade out for that.
He pulled out a sword.
The sword.
No, but he didn't pull out a sword. It was a good blade. I mean, how do you judge it anymore? I guess if you do it, I guess they're just going to do it. I noticed that they had Hogan come back in 2010-11 with Ric Flair. They were blading a lot, and that's when I started to think, like, this is getting kind of out of hand. Like, these guys are obviously hurt and they're blading. But, they might be able to do it right. Jeff Hardy's back.
Yep. Signed that contract this week.
Right. Well, I mean...
No, I'm sorry. He didn't sign a contract. What am I talking about? Go ahead. You speak the truth.
Well, the reason he wasn't at the tapings is because he can't go over there because, some legal things have probably occurred in his life that make it hard to travel certain places at certain times.
It was Jeff Hardy, but it was Matt Hardy that announced that he did a full-time deal this week.
Oh, I didn't know. Yeah, well, that's outstanding, and Matt's good. I'm sorry I talked about his weight last week. Look, it's hard to keep your weight down when you're our age. I know that more than anybody. Trust me.
Yeah, he's got a lot of bumps in the old bumpometer. So. And
he's been in some spectacular matches and not gotten a lot of credit for those ladder matches. Like, you got to think he had a ton to do with it. If you watch Omega and you think about him booking and you think about his place in the Hardy Boys and the matches they had with Edge and Christian, you got to think he's the catalyst behind most of the thinking in those incredible 5-star 6-man ladder matches at the WrestleManias and SummerSlams in the early 2000s that brought the tag team division to another level and everyone loved so much. Yeah. So, Matt, I will give a lot of credit to. He's definitely pulled it off. He doesn't react very well to. I like those guys. Like, that's the type of dudes I would hang out with. Like, seeing them in their personal life, cutting little promos on CM Punk from Cracker Barrel and stuff. That's fresh. I like it.
I like it too.
He's like, have you seen the Jeff Hardy? That'll be a promo of the week, hopefully in the future. He's at Cracker Barrel. He cuts a promo on CM Punk, calls him a nerd, which is pretty funny.
I know, right?
Look, we're all nerds.
We're all nerds.
Are remarks,
Jesus. Yeah. The TNA, I like it. I like where they're going. The direction of the company's good. I will say this. Drew Galloway's promos.
Okay.
As has gotten absorbed into TNA, where he's quote-unquote standing up for wrestling. First of all, I'll have to say this as well. I hate hashtags. I hate companies telling me what to trend on my damn Twitter.
Those tweets are obviously so fake, too. That
I hate them. It's like, whether it's WWE or, TNA, I hate stand up for goddamn wrestling. I don't care about it. I just don't care about it. Now, the other thing, too, is, okay, if a wrestler comes in with the ideas that Drew Galloway has, okay, I understand he was wanting to shoot on WWE. Let him shoot for the WWE. Just put him in the ring and have him shoot already.
Yeah.
Don't make it part of a stupid angle.
I know.
It doesn't make any
That
damn
one
sense.
comes in.
Just have the wrestler shoot on the damn company already, because having to manufacture his words and meld it into the angle doesn't work. It's disjuncted. It doesn't work for me. Okay, you know what? The best. And then to do a continuation of what he did last week, dude, if you're going to lay a pipe bomb, lay the damn pipe bomb in the middle of the ring and say, I'm here because I was misused in WWE. I rock. I'm a rock star. I got told I was really good, and I asked for advice from Triple H every damn week. I did my best. They gave me a shitty gimmick, and this is where it is. You know what I mean? This is my shoot promo right now.
You can't tease it and tease it. You need to come out and do what you do is you come out and you go, hey, I'm here, and you make a grand entrance. Hey, I'm here now. And let me before I get started here, tell you what's up with my old work employers. Boom, 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 shoot, shoot, shoot. I wasn't given any opportunities, which is BS, by the way. He wasn't. Look, the crowd didn't respond to him in WWE. That's what the problem was. They were dead every time he came out. I remember. And anyway, he cuts.
Well, he was snake bitten. He was, in his defense, he was snake bitten with his injury. He was. I think they were trying to build something, and it just. I think
he just looked too weird or something. He looked young or something. I don't know.
He was young for sure.
He looked like Brian Kendrick too much. I think that kind of hurt him. Am I right?
It's like Brian Kendrick on giant pills.
If you can get Brian Kendrick or Paul London on this podcast, that would be the greatest thing that ever happened.
Well, Brian Kendrick is on NXT now.
I know, but so that'll be hard. But or get London's hilarious. Their shoots are great.
I thought their tag team was tremendous, but anyway, we digress.
I thought he looked too much like him. It's not so much like people say like, oh, he's too old to be in the show. Oh, he's too whatever to be in the show. It's a question of how the age you've been on the show. I've been on it for 5 straight years. You have Brian Kendrick for 5 years. You bring out a guy that looks like him. Same idea, same thing on SmackDown, same size. It looks similar. I know that's kind of deep and weird. That's what it was. I'm telling you. He looked like Kendrick. He filled that role. So he psychologically with the audience continued that. So he wasn't going to be seen as a top guy. He was going to be seen as a low to mid-card, tag teamy, jobbery, kind of awesome wrestler guy. He was stiff in the ring. I thought he was great with them, but it just didn't work.
Now that you mention that, I see that, but I didn't think that at the time. That's
psychological, man.
I guess. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, man, I'm deep. Well, I'm deep like Brian Kendrick, actually.
You're pretty deep, man. Well, having said that, I just feel once again that if you're gonna shoot, just shoot, man. Don't make it part of the angle. And I blame whatever agent. I don't know who it is, D'Lo Brown. I don't know who it is that's helping him, put those segments together. But just do the thing you need to do. If you really want a trend, you lay the pipe bomb in the middle of the ring, and then you get down to business. I'm here for the TNA World Heavyweight title. No one's going to step in my damn way. I'm going to get past the Beatdown Club. I'm going to take that title from Bobby Lashley or whoever the number one contender is, whether I have to face Kurt Angle or whoever. He could
be a great future champion for him with the proper build and the proper amount of wins and the proper promos. He could be a great long-term champion for them in the future, something Vince didn't do, and they could claim him as their own.
Right.
Yeah. Something they haven't been able to do yet with Booker.
I have to wonder how it's going to be with Taryn Terrell in the company as the women's champion.
I don't know.
That's weird, huh?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
I thought about it, and I was like, oh, great. Drew's coming back to the company where his ex-wife is. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, they had a bad incident. I don't want to get into it, but and we won't. But that's the problem with that. That's their business. I don't want to know about you and your wife doing weird, or ex-wife. I don't want to know that you cheated on her or she cheated on you or whatever happened or y'all got into a fight. I don't want to know that on this show.
Right.
Don't combine business with personal so much. It always ends disastrously, like Kevin Sullivan and Nancy Sullivan and all that. And I won't bring up everything that happened there. But when you get your personal life on the show, when you get your personal life on the show, it's a bad move because it can mirror your life in a lot of ways. In this instance, I would just avoid that at all costs. They must be cordial. That's all I can guess. I
hope so. Last bit that I have, I don't know if you have any other bits, but I do have this. TNA just announced that Angelina Love has re-signed with TNA. So. Okay, good.
They do good with the gals. They and maybe that has something to do with Mrs. Carter, running the company. But they seem to do pretty good, and it's good to see Mickie James. By the way, that's another TNA aspect. I see her a lot in the show. Not necessarily a fan of what they're talking about or what they're doing, but she's really cool. She's a Nashville girl. She releases music here, and
we need to get Mickie on the show. I love Mickie James
because she did that song "Hardcore Country." Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did. Hey, look, more power to her.
Her manager moved in to where I was living.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
I could get you Mickie James signed stuff, and I'm like, well, yeah. it was interesting. But
between Mickie James and Goldilocks, they do a lot of stuff for TNA music, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They do. But I mean, she does better with music within wrestling rather than music as a wrestler within the industry.
Right. Gotcha.
You know what I'm trying to say.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. TNA also is returning to Florida with some tapings that are going on there as well. That's going to be they're doing them right now, in fact. Yeah, so they've got one last taping here come the 16th. So it'll be interesting to see how that happens. When I'm in Florida next, I'm going to try to make it to the WWE Performance Center. I think that should be pretty cool.
You need to check that out. I mean, I hear the centers, despite what we've been talking about with Mr. DeMott, the Performance Center itself is amazing. They spent a whole lot of money on it. But, when are we going to see Randy Orton and John Cena and Batista and Brock Lesnar pop out of there? Like we did from OVW and Deep South. I mean, seriously, I'm just kind of waiting around. But, because a lot of the guys like Ambrose, Harper, I had seen, or Rollins, I had seen in Ring of Honor and CZW and other places already. So I'm just, they probably needed to change him as the trainer. Well, they did before they, we'll also need to wait and see if they get sued at all from him. That could be coming as well. I don't think they handled it too well if what they're saying is true.
Yeah, that's true.
But we'll just have to wait and see. That could be news later. I'm predicting things instead of,
Yeah.
But yeah, the Performance Center is awesome. It's amazing, and when they put it in there, it was a real coup for Triple H. That was his big dream, and he's right. It's all about the future now with the guys in the show. It's all about the future.
Yeah, and I like the fact that they're taking that show on the road as another brand. I think it's great, and they might lose money, but the money that they lose on the road is only being put toward building the superstars of the future. So
I think they need to go on the road. They have their own fan base. They have their own people that dig that show for what it is. I know I do.
Yeah.
It's a different vibe, and it reminds me of, it's like what Ring of Honor could be, honestly. I think the wrestlers Ring of Honor are slightly better for the most part, but they're also a lot more amateur coming across because of the technical issues that Ring of Honor struggles with. Did you watch the show this week?
Ring of Honor?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. In fact, I've got results.
Oh, okay, good.
I love the show. Do we want to move into Ring of Honor? Let's move into Ring of Honor.
I'd love to.
Okay, so Ring of Honor starts off once again, killer tag team action. I love it. Chris Daniels, Kazarian, The Addiction beat up ACH and Matt Seidel, Airborne, Reborn. A great match, dude. Loved it.
Yeah, killer.
Loved the match. You can never go wrong with putting those guys in the ring. I could watch that all damn day long. One thing I will say, I've never liked it in Ring of Honor. Never will. I hate the streamers. Sorry, I hate streamers. Think they're stupid. Streamer guy, I'd like to fire you. I'm putting you on blast right now. Streamer guy, fired. I'd fire you immediately. Go ahead.
You're talking about when they throw streamers in the ring?
I hate the damn streamers.
Okay, look. What you've just said is very offensive.
I hate the streamers, man.
What you just said was offensive.
You know what?
You're putting down the Japanese tradition. with your
I'm
tongue.
sorry. Well,
You're sorry.
in Japan, that might work out great. I just don't like it for Ring of Honor.
And you're 100% correct. They want to be Japanese wrestlers.
Yeah.
You're not Misawa.
No.
You're not Kenta. You're not Kobashi. You're not Stan Hansen. You're right.
I don't mind the streamers in Japanese wrestling.
You're not
I mind
Manami
it in Ring of
Toyota
Honor.
gets thrown on her head 50 straight times in an hour-long match, and she keeps kicking out, and you're like, how long is this match? Are you kidding me? Is she still wrestling?
Yeah, I'm just not a fan.
You're right.
And you know what happens? I think it's because when I used to play gigs and we'd have streamers hit us in the face, and but
Terry Funk didn't care about Dory Funk Jr. I'm feel like I'm on a Ric Flair promo. Dory Funk, Harley Race,
so
Jack Briscoe.
I don't like streamers. I don't like bubble machines. I do like lasers, and I do like smoke machines.
Of course you like lasers.
I love lasers. I'm a stupid sci-fi mark, damn it.
You like lasers. You like Van Halen. You like lasers.
I love lasers.
They go hand in hand for some reason. I'm not sure why.
So Jay Briscoe popped up afterwards.
Yeah.
He cut a great promo about how a lot of people say that he got out of the last pay-per-view by the skin of his teeth.
Sure.
And followed up with saying, "You can call me lucky, you can call me whatever, but just don't forget to call me the champ." What a great line.
That was great.
What a great line. And Samoa Joe comes in, huge pop, awesome video, Tron video comes on. He comes in and basically says, "It's been a long time since I've been a champion at Ring of Honor, but I'm back now." Awesome.
Yeah.
So he's a super card, and he is wanting a match with Jay Briscoe, which is going to be a great match.
Briscoe will make it great no matter what condition Joe's in compared to what he was previously in Ring of Honor, where his matches were absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
for years.
Absolutely. Last but not least, another great tag team match. Again, The Kingdom with Mike Bennett and Matt Taven with Maria Kanellis. By the way, one of my favorite divas of all times.
Beautiful gal.
Love Maria. She's the best.
Great shoots with her on the internet. She's very solid.
And very talented. Very talented.
Stupid angle they put her in where she's a moron. She's actually very knowledgeable about backstage politics and the things that were occurring. So she's a reverse of what she comes across when they had her as the dumb diva mic holder on WWE, Raw, which was stupid. Yeah.
But you know what? She's over like Rover, and I love her.
She's very over. She's really good on that show. That's a good place for her right now.
It is. It is. And for you, your favorite, the Young Bucks in there with The Kingdom.
Well, they're putting over those guys really strong, and their matches are incredible, and the Meltzer drivers are incredible and funny, and they're awesome. And they've been awesome for a while. As they get older, they'll probably get a little bit better. They look so baby-faced in that same sense, like I was talking about Spud. But I could see these guys doing something one day. Huge.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, absolutely. I love it a lot. So, that's basically it from the big three. I mean, once again, Lucha Underground, just a note, once again, awesome vignettes, awesome show.
Right.
You've got a cage match in there. I believe it was Johnny Nitro, Johnny Mundo versus, the other AAA ex-champion, and the name is eluding me right now. But at any rate, that was a good cage match, and I'm sorry I didn't take my notes for that because I thought I had the page up.
They need to get that. They've been in negotiations on getting on a broader network that'll reach more homes, and I think once that happens, if they sign the deal that they're talking about, because they got Mysterio and El Patron now, and they got, if they sign that deal, they will become the number 2 promotion over TNA.
Well, it's crazy right now. You've got Alberto Del Rio, Samoa Joe. Those guys are all over the TV now. Alberto Del Rio, El Patron, is on AAA, is on Lucha, is on ROH. You've got Samoa Joe on TNA, also on ROH. I mean, this is a great time.
It's a good time for underground stuff.
I love it. I think it's really good. So anyway, it's worth a look. Check out Lucha Underground. I thought that cage match was great.
Yeah, heard a lot about it.
And I apologize that I'm not more into that
If they're on more networks, I could talk about it at length. But
yeah, so shoot me. Okay, I was watching Lucha Underground before the show, and I still enjoy it. It's very, very good.
Very awesome.
I tell you, man. Any other miscellaneous points we need to mention? Those are some of the highlights for me this week.
I'm pretty good this week on what we've talked about. I'm really excited to see the show on Monday night at Raw. I'm really excited to see TNA's next few shows and Ring of Honor with Samoa Joe and Briscoe. There's a lot of good stuff going on. You know, we need to talk a little bit more about New Japan at some point, and AJ Styles being the IWGP champ and all that. But we'll get into that in the future, and maybe I'll share a couple of matches that folks could, you know, you could share them online. You know, those are definitely cool to share. You know, they're cool. But it's a pretty exciting time in the business, and there's some interesting things going on. We'll just have to see if Roman Reigns actually ends up happening or not. And if it's a disaster, what will that lead to business-wise, and how quick will they make the change?
You know what? I'm okay with it. I mean, I feel that if you, just like anything else, if you give me a character, if you give me a wrestler I can get behind, I'm all about it. You know, make me care for Roman Reigns.
Right.
Make me care, and you'll be fine. I thought last week's episode had a little bit of character building with Roman Reigns. This week, maybe, you know, not so much. But if they just give us an opportunity to care, if they give us an opportunity to care about, you know, Brock Lesnar, you know, whatever, it's fun. Just give us an opportunity to care, like or dislike. We need to have some emotional investment.
There's no emotional investment. There's not a lack of heat. There's not too many booing. There's just not enough.
It's flatlining.
It's flatlining. So do something quick. Sign that boy and have him F5 that guy into oblivion if that's what you need to do. Have Rollins come out and cash in the Money in the Bank and take the title. That might be the answer. If Lesnar doesn't sign, have Reigns beat him clean. Rollins catches in the belt. They have a pretty good 10-minute long match for a change or something like that. Have him win the title, heel champ. He'll be fine. But they can't go with Reigns. It's just not working. I'm making it official. It's not going to work. I know it. I know how this stuff works. I've been watching for months as they try to build him up as the guy for the WrestleMania. It did not work. It's over. You can't do anything in 2 weeks. You got to be done by now. Sorry.
I agree. I agree. Obviously, you're a fan of wrestling podcasts because you're listening to this program, but there are a bunch of really good shows out there. I listened to the Ross Report on Podcast One. I make no bones about it. I believe it was this week. He had an interview with Melina, which was very good, by the way.
Really?
Check that out. Yeah, you need to check that out. But there is something that JR, I believe he said in this podcast that was quite interesting about WrestleMania. You have to think, because Brock is going to be at WrestleMania. Brock is going to be there. I'm sorry, and Undertaker's going to be there.
Yeah.
You have to wonder if those paths will cross somehow. He set the table for something quite interesting. So, could you see interference from Brock Lesnar in the match with Bray Wyatt?
No.
Okay. I'm just putting it out there. Or could you see The Undertaker messing up with the main event to put over Roman Reigns?
I would be saddened if that happened, because I think this is the one time, even when The Rock, the greatest star of all, perhaps, interjected himself into the Cena-Miz match, it was sort of sad to see the main event affected in a very non-clean finish sort of way. You know? I could see them having a backstage moment, which would... No, he couldn't do that either.
Maybe
like right before the match, Lesnar's like, I'm ready, and then Heyman looks, and then The Undertaker, I've never thought of this. You've never really seen The Undertaker do backstage stuff. You ever thought about that?
Not a whole lot.
Dog. That's a good point.
It's an interesting thing that Jim Ross poses on his show, and you have to think that there is money there. There is something that is, you know, it's not resolved. It's one of those things where if there was some type of interaction that would pay off in once again a must-see pay-per-view event. Is that?
I'd say this: if they sign him for another 2 years, I could see him doing the WrestleMania in 2 years against Taker one more time and getting the win back, which I think Brock would owe him because it's really done a lot. First of all, Undertaker had his first 2 really good matches after the Rock title win back in 2002 and did put him over, and then put him over for WrestleMania last year, leading to, honestly, his best year ever for Lesnar, for wrestling.
Yes, totally.
Great match there. SummerSlam was great. Heyman as his mouthpiece with incredible promos. Royal Rumble had you know what I'm saying? Okay, so he pins The Undertaker. Everyone's shocked. He has an incredible match with Cena that's totally different from any other type of match. Then he has a 4 or 5 star match at Royal Rumble with incredible promos interspersed, and barely was there. Now he's going to be in the main event again. This is his best year, honestly, and he's barely been there. So he needs to stay. Honestly, he needs to stay. He's worth it to them, and it might be a work.
It might be, and
no.
Well, I was simply going to say that for all the internet smarks that are out there that says,
I hate them.
I know, right? Well, right? That's why we have this podcast.
I see Triple H go, is there all those internet marks out there on their computers? And I'm like, he's talking about me.
He's talking about me.
He's talking about me. I'm on the internet.
Booker, you think you know. You're just like those internet marks out there.
That was it.
Bang around on their computer.
Yeah. Good segment, by the way, when they fired
It was a good segment. Yeah, I agree. I want Booker on the show. Booker, I emailed you. Get on this show already.
Booker,
I know you're busy doing like 5 podcasts a week, but come on, man.
Booker, I have a textbook knowledge of all your matches. I'll talk about
love Booker
other
T.
people don't.
I am a huge fan of the Spinaroonie.
Let's talk about those Killer Fit Finley matches you had.
Oh, no kidding.
Okay, I know what's going on.
But anyway, what I was simply going to say is that what is beautiful about what's going on now, as much as we break it down and we like this and we don't like that, but is it a work? Is it a shoot? Is that we don't know.
That's what's
right. It's not set in stone. The road to WrestleMania is filled with different detours, and we're along for the ride. And I think that's the most important part about loving this industry as a fan that we can possibly do, is just that we don't know where it's going. There's a lot of uncertainty. And isn't that what it's all about? It's all about not knowing. Because if you did know, if it was cut dry, and they gave fans what they want all the time, then it's going to be like, well, damn, why do I even need to watch? As they say, literally in the Stone Cold podcast, what did Vince and Triple H say? We need to set the hook. We need to set the hook. So when they set the hook, they bait us, they got us. And we just don't know what's going to happen. What's going to happen with the U.S. title? We care about it. Wow, imagine that. We care about the Intercontinental title. Wow.
They've done a great job of making us care about both titles tremendously. They were dead in the water.
Yes.
And now we're like, I'm thinking, what if Ambrose? Okay, well, Ambrose deserves the belt. He'd be good with it. And I'm like, well, if Bryan had the belt, that'd be really cool. He could hold up the belt and do the yes chant. Or what if they don't do it and they put it on someone dumb? Like, I'm thinking about the dumb belt, and I'm thinking about how important that belt is right now. They've made the U.S. title tremendously important with Rusev and everything that they've done.
And there you go. That's the whole point. So, once again, I care about the titles. That is good. That is what I'm going to leave you with, and then we will be back next week.
Can I say something real quick, though?
Yeah, go for it.
And this is an enticement for Booker T to get on the show.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to do another hour-long book report, but I just wanted to say this. This is a really good Blu-ray. It's the Oh My God moments. It's actually most of their silly it's WCW stuff. So it's all really funny. It's got it's got general erections on it, and it's got Russo winning the belt and all that. But I just wanted to say that Jeff Jarrett versus Booker T in a San Francisco 49ers match. I don't know if you remember this. It's got like 4 boxes, and the boxes. It's so stupidly booked and written, and your boy Booker T what does he do? Through it all, perseveres and he makes it a pretty good match, under those conditions. But I just wanted to say that 49ers match is something else. I don't know.
Yeah.
What was going wrong back then? Check that out. But Booker, you had this terrible match given to you. You go out there, and you did a great. He really did hold their belt very well at the very end, and that's something people don't say enough. He had nothing but handcuffed with bad angles and he had no opponents except for Jeff Jarrett, who they kept pushing down everyone's throat. And I like Jeff, and I've met Karen too, and they're very nice people. They live in Hendersonville. But he was being pushed too much on that show perhaps at the time. Anyway, Booker did a great, phenomenal job with what he had and set the pace a little bit and always had a good match. So Booker, please.
Come on the show.
Come on.
I emailed.
I love your brother too. Your brother's promos are great.
Yeah, now they're the Reality of Wrestling Tag Team Champions of the World once again. Last Harlem Heat reunion. Can you imagine? The boys got back together. They won the tag team titles. So
another good suck up move, and he does a tremendous job with that promotion.
He does.
They draw a lot of people. They don't draw no 84 people. They're drawing in the hundreds, close to 1,000.
It's good for them, man. And by the way, a sneak peek of the Booker T story on the WWE Network, as well as Chris Jericho, two great WCW legacy guys, and awesome docs that are getting ready to be released on Blu-ray DVD.
And
which, by the way,
I'm sorry about that, but that Blu-ray is ridiculous.
Yeah. If you ever want to buy Blu-rays, you can go to our website. That leads me to the website where you can purchase Nick Bockwinkel merchandise. Did you happen to? You can also, you got me.
Be honest, the history of the AWA, they have some tremendous matches, and he has an hour-long match on the Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig story, 1 hour match, double juice, killer, Nick Bockwinkel, 5-star wrestler.
I love it. You can purchase all that from our website at prowrestlingcast.com on our Amazon link, and be sure to use that. We have a link on it in our show notes as well. Any other final parting words before we leave you with the genius that is Scott Steiner for our promo of the week?
Just that I've been recollecting more and more with wrestling history lately, and I just wanted to say this business is cyclical. It will come back around, and the thing that keeps us smart marks going is YouTube and all the great things that are on YouTube, and it's a pleasure to be able to share with people old school stuff and old school clips. We played 2 clips from the 80s and 90s, and that's what keeps us marks, all those great clips, and through the tough times and bad, there's lots of great wrestling going on, Lucha Underground, Ring of Honor, they have good wrestlers out there. The business is not dying out, it's just in a cycle, and it's still real to me. And all that. I mean, for real.
I love it. Thanks for that, man.
Promo of the week.
I'll leave you right now with our promo of the week. It comes from the man, Mr. Scott Steiner, cutting a promo, if I'm not mistaken, with Petey Williams in TNA. So how about we give this a listen here?
They say all men are created equal, but you look at me and you look at Samoa Joe, and you can see that statement is not true. See, normally if you go one-on-one with another wrestler, you got a 50-50 chance of winning. But I'm a genetic freak, and I'm not normal. So you got a 25% at best at beating me. And then you add Kurt Angle to the mix, your chances of winning drastically go down. See, the 3-way at Sacrifice, you got a 33 1/3 chance of winning. But I got a 66 2/3 chance of winning because Kurt Angle knows he can't beat me, and he's not even going to try. So, Samoa Joe, you take your 33 1/3 chance minus my 25% chance, and you got an 8 1/3 chance of winning at Sacrifice. But then you take my 75% chance of winning, if we used to go one-on-one, and then add 66 2/3%, I got 141 2/3 chance of winning at Sacrifice. See, Joe, the numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you at Sacrifice.
That is our promo of the week, everyone. Thank you so much. Follow us at P Wrestling Cast.
That's not logical. That wasn't logical.
Not logical at all. And until then, we'll see you next week. Don't forget to tuck your head. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Thanks for checking out Pro Wrestling Cast. If you've got a question or comment, leave us a voicemail at 615-9339-PWC. That's 615-9339-792. Follow us on Facebook at Pro Wrestling Cast and on Twitter at PWrestlingCast, or email us at prowrestlingcast@gmail.com.
It's still real to me, damn it!
The opinions and ideas presented in these podcasts are those of Pro Wrestling Cast and are for entertainment purposes.
You're awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Funk, for saying what needed to be said.